You are listening to The Betty Howls Show here on CILU Radio, 102.7 FM. The following is an excerpt of an interview that I was lucky enough to have with Biljana Baker, who's a local watercolor artist. She's also a longtime member of Artisans Northwest, who are celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. If you haven't heard of them, they have a presence on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and a few other places online, including their own website. So this just lets you know about the origins of the group and how they've persisted for now 40 years. Enjoy. You're listening to The Betty Howls Show here on CILU Radio. So now that you're meandering through history talking about your painting, we should probably talk about Artisans a little bit, because you let out in getting comfortable here today that you are one of the people that started it, or if not the person that started it. So like, that's incredible to me, because 40 years around, right? Next year's the anniversary.
Yes.
So, and Cindy Cockle talked a little bit about this on the show too. So
the 40 years included also the 15 years that was called the Art and Craft Market.
Okay.
And that was something that was run by Wim Barscher.
Okay.
And it happened every November for 4 consecutive Sundays.
Okay.
And it was just for one day, and the artist would come and set up and do the show and then leave. And I applied to that, and I got accepted. And my first meeting that I was at, Wim announced that, that he's resigning because he's done it for 15 years. People get burnt out, and he was just great at what he did. And so he ended up saying that, he'll help out, but he's not going to be able to continue. So there were about 10 of us at this meeting, and we were sort of looking at each other. A lot of us were new. And we decided, this was worth keeping, but it needed an uplift. And so we sort of brainstormed and decided to sort of do one major weekend to sort of encourage artists to do something different than just put a table in front, and give people a chance to do nice displays. And we decided that we're going to change the name, and we thought Artisans Northwest was the name that came about, and the logo and all this stuff. And somehow I got in charge again. It seems to be a habit, and that's how it started. So, and then I stayed on as the president for about 10 years, and then came back again as a co-chair with another lady for a couple of, Marge Cross, for a couple of years. Just, sometimes you have people moving around and things like that. So, yeah, that was my start with them, and I'm still with them, and I still think it's the best show in town, and the artists that participate in that are excellent artists, and it is a juried show, and it's been great. It's been great.
Well, it's been incredible for me, because I started out doing this thinking I could sell what I make. And one Christmas I just did an experiment. I thought, well, I'll do one craft show and see how I feel. And I sold everything. And then,
no wonder. I've got a lot of your items.
And then there was a jury in January. And Amanda Strobel was working with me, and she said, why don't you try? And I thought, I'm never going to get into that group. I go there and I'm in awe at everything. These are people that I just am inspired by and admire. And then I was let in, and I met you.
I know.
And I thought, this is incredible. But not only just meeting other people who are creative, and other people who are creative and live their life and make their living this way. That is not something that you get to talk about or hear of. No. And you wouldn't think is possible in Thunder Bay.
But it is.
But it is.
It is. You have to do it the right way.
And you have to know the business side.
You have to know the business side.
Yeah.
As much as you want to be just an artist, you can't.
Yeah.
You need to know how to do it.
And that's one of the first things I learned from you, just looking at your booth. And I thought, well, she already has magnificent art. People respect her. People know her all over the place. But look at how she's thought this out. She's thought about what kind of things people will want, how she can actually sell her art. She can sell it. There's thought into this. That I thought, well, I have to keep that in mind too.
See, as much as it's a business, and you have to treat it as a business. But I still get a thrill. And when I lose this thrill, I'm going to stop. But I still get a thrill from somebody buying even a card, because that means that they like what I'm doing. You know, and there are people that can't afford the $500, $600, and $800 paintings. And that's why I have the little reproductions.
Yes, accessible.
Well, they're accessible.
Yeah.
And I want people to have my artwork on their wall. But if they can't afford it, what is the purpose of it?
That's exactly how I feel too.
So to me, when someone wants it, I'm thrilled. And still to this day, I'm still thrilled. And I think it's important not to lose that side of it. But like I said, there is the business side. You know, you have to buy frames, you have to buy mats. I mean, I do my own cutting, I do my own framing. I do all that so that I can offer those prices. And now I bought a Giglet printer. So I do my own printing now, and the prints are just phenomenal. And a scanner, I bought a 36-inch scanner that has 3 cameras underneath. So watercolors are very hard to reproduce because of the color combinations. So with the scanner, I can get the exact colors, and I'm doing it on watercolor paper. You cannot tell the difference between the original and the Giglet print. So when I offer these people, I know that I'm offering a good product. But because I do it all myself and I'm not paying sort of the middleman, you know, I can offer those prices so people can afford to have my paintings on their walls. And
but that's so important.
it is important to me. That's what's important. It's not, you know, it's not... the business has to happen, but that's not what drives me, you know. And if I ever get to a point where that's not exciting, it becomes mundane, and I take things for granted, it's time to stop.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that's not going to happen, because I get a thrill out of it every time anyways. And,
How can you not, though, you know?
I don't know, you know, before every meeting, I get really nervous, and I go, oh, what happens if they don't like the new things that I've done? And you know, oh, I haven't done enough of this. And, you know, you go through this whole...
And
silliness.
it's silly, yeah.
You know, and then they come, and
that's amazing that I can hear you say that, because that happens to me every year.
Oh, I know. I go through this total, and then you look at it and go, oh, this is just not good enough. I've done nothing. Oh, what? You know, this happens every year, the 3rd month. Why am I doing it in the last 2 days of the show?
Yeah.
Like, see, we all do it.
Yeah. Well, and I think in a way, even though it's hard to go through that kind of self-doubt every year, it drives you, because you don't ever become complacent. You don't think there's nothing else for you to learn. You're always challenged by not being 100%, you know, loving every piece. You think, I know that I could do that better. I could do it differently. I've thought about this, or I saw the sky the other day, and I think of things in a completely different way. Yeah. And like for me, I think that being creative is driven by just experiencing life and seeing the colors, and how could then I never be creative again? Because as long as you're experiencing those things, the inspiration just keeps coming.
It's part of you.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that's internal, and you can't shut it off. It is a part of you, and it'll always be there. And you know, yes, sometimes you have, you know, like low moments, and you go, oh, you know, nothing's happening. And when nothing's happening, I just go and eat. I mean, you know, and then I come back and I go, oh, this was not too bad.
Yeah.
And things like that. So, you know, I think we all go through the same process.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. But we come to the same conclusions, that we love doing it. I love being part of the community. I love doing what I'm doing. I won't stop. You know, I know I'm going to be doing more shows. I'm going to organize more. There are a few more things in the roster for next year. Yeah,
exciting.
I know. Yes. So
that's something that I always want to, it's neat to see new shows, new get-togethers, new venues, new ideas. Like you see it in magazines and you think, I want it to happen here, you know.
And it can happen here. We've brought things here that we didn't think would be able to work. Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. I'm so glad that you stopped by and you had a chance to speak with me, because we're both incredibly busy right now at this time of year. And so you'll be at the Artisans Northwest show.
Anyways, well, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Oh, I
really enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah,
Thanks for stopping by. And anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome.
I don't know if I have anything else to talk about.
Oh, of course you do. We just have to think about it for a second.
A millisecond. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that Artisan Northwest show is taking place on November 14th and 15th at the Valhalla. And you'll be seeing a few more interviews coming up on the Betty Howls YouTube channel, as well as Artisans Northwest YouTube channel. So stay tuned.